Welcome to the Regal Eagle Report. I'm Lasia.
I'm Nikhil.
And I'm Anjali, and we are your co-hosts.
We are Team 2869, a diverse and inclusive team located at Bethpage High School.
We are aiming for our podcast to be an outlet to interact with other teams and collaborate on varied ideas and thoughts.
We are so excited to introduce our brand new series, where we will be interviewing one team from each state.
Embark on our journey as we will be aiming to hit every state, reaching our goal of 50.
For this week's podcast, we will be interviewing Redbird Robotics from New Jersey.
So please introduce yourselves as well as your position on the team. We'll start first. My name is Anjali Gupati, and I'm a current sophomore, and I'm part of the electrical team as well as one of the CNC leads.
I'm Nikhil. I'm also a sophomore. I do mechanical and help with the podcast, and I'm also the other CNC lead.
My name's Lasia. I'm a senior, and I'm part of operations and fundraising. So we'll start with the questions. Our first question is, how was your team founded? What is its origin?
So we were founded in 2006. One of the students at our high school had seen an ad for a robotics competition at one of our local arenas. It was when our area was still a regional model. So they went, checked it out, and were so impressed with it, they brought it back to our school board and petitioned to start a team. And here we are. It's that simple.
Nice.
So was there a story behind your team's name? And if so, what is it?
There's nothing really special about it. They just picked our mascots, Redbirds, so they just went with that. Nothing special.
How many years has your team been part of FRC?
This is going to be our 19th season with FRC, and we're going to be releasing special 20th anniversary merch for next year.
That's nice. How many years were each of you on it individually?
Max, you want to start?
Yeah, this is my second year on the team.
This is my fourth year on the team.
This is my third year on the team.
This is my 13th season, but first as lead advisor.
I think this is my 10th season with the team, and I'm one of the alumni that came back to help mentor.
This is my fourth year on the team.
It's also my fourth.
So, where's your school located? Is it a big school district, small, many schools?
So like the namesake, we are located in Allentown, New Jersey, not Allentown, Pennsylvania. And we are a pretty small town. We get a lot of students, and especially a lot of students on our team from surrounding areas like New Egypt and Millstone, just other small town areas. And in general, we're surrounded by a ton of farmland, so not much really robotics influence. We're the primary robotics influence in our area.
So how has your team helped increase membership from underclassmen?
So we do a lot of outreach events kind of related to our middle school, like middle school that goes into our high school. So we have a STEM club there that we run. I'm actually the lead, mentor for that STEM club. And a lot of the participants of that STEM club go on to be members of our robotics team. And on top of that, we also do different events like robot demonstrations at our middle school and our elementary school. That's actually how I found out about the team and why I wanted to join. And then we had a second team. You want to talk about that?
Yeah, sure. So in 2023, for our 2023 season, we decided to create a second team for 1807 called 1812. This team was intended to be sort of a underclassmen gateway kind of program where the newer members would be able to learn the skills and get the experience that they needed to thrive on the main team as upperclassmen.
So what are some ways that your team has tried to gather sponsors, and who are some of your sponsors that you've had?
So honestly, most of our sponsors come from parents that are part of a larger company or even a small company. And so we have all of our members kind of reach out to their parents and see if their company would be interested in sponsoring us. But on top of that, our development team also spends a good majority of the beginning of the year searching for grants and different sponsorship opportunities that companies have put out for people like us to submit. And so some of our really big companies that have been with us like from our founding years is Bristol Myers Squibb, Johnson & Johnson, the Forte family, which also is one of our alumni, Cubic Maltby, and we have many more. Some other ways that we do this is instead of just having the students on our team reaching out to our parents, we have newsletters that go out weekly that kind of addresses this. And we also have sponsor packets that we've created so that people who might be intrigued by sponsoring our team but don't really know what it entails, it describes all of that. And then when we do have our sponsors, we have a sponsor night to kind of honor them.
So are there any specific initiatives you guys took to get these really big corporations, other than how you mentioned parents contacting and the newsletter?
Not really. It's developed over time. When I first started 13 seasons ago, we really didn't know. We didn't know what we didn't know. So we just kind of winged it. And over time, we've collaborated with other teams and learned from them, saying, "Hey, reach out to Department of Defense. They have a grant. Reach out to Johnson & Johnson. They'll write grants." So it's really just developed over time and morphed into what it is. And we've empowered the students to write these grants, whereas myself and some of the other mentors would spend weekends doing this. We've taught them. They write the essays. They fill it out. We review it, just like any corporation would. It's peer reviewed, and it empowers them. They're learning great skills for college and beyond.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. So what are some like fundraising initiatives you guys do like throughout the year, or like spring or summer or things like that?
Yeah, so we have a machining sub-team on our team that has kind of been heading fundraising in a way, especially in the past few years. So for example, they've created custom ornaments. So basically you have catted, I believe, the ornaments. And it's like logos of our high school and logos for our team. And we've been selling those at fairs. We've been cutting them out in the wood and sanding them down. We're actually bringing an example over to you. And then we've been decorating them, adding bows, making them look
Really
cuter.
cool. Mm-hmm.
And on top of that, we've also recently started an order form for water bottles. So we have different water bottles ordered, and then our machining team will engrave a logo and a name and anything that the person wants in them. So by making these different things, we've been able to earn money that way. And we're also starting to explore in different ways, like working with restaurants. A lot of local restaurants are willing to do like a split profit fundraiser that we want to start. We also had a GoFundMe. Sometimes we have to ask the parents and anyone who's interested in like helping out of the community to help us to go to Worlds, for example, like raising money for travel fees. And then we also have something called Nerds for Nerds. Do one of you? Sure.
There's a local band here in Jersey called the Nerds. They've been around since I was a lot younger. They started late 80s, not to date myself. Sam had organized an event with them, and we're going to try to piggyback off that and use that here. We're going to call it Nerds for Nerds. They're a cover band, charge admission, have food, and it's not just a community event. It's fundraising, of course, but it's a community event to let everyone know what we're about. So many people don't know. We hosted our first district event on our campus last spring, and the comments of, "Oh, I didn't know what this was. Why doesn't anybody tell us about this?" It was staggering. So we have been really ramping up our outreach to not just promote ourselves, but first in general.
I like that.
Yeah, I think our team has actually created like the ornaments and water bottles. Our team has those too as well, which is something we have in common. But now moving on to the robot. How has your robot evolved over the past couple of years?
Well, I'm kind of the walking history book for that kind of stuff. Since I was on build for eons. So when I first joined the team, we were just a kit of parts chassis that we got provided by First, and we were lucky to make our match on time. We were lucky if we ran. So it was a real struggle for us. And we were using hacksaws, hand drills. One student actually brought in a drill press from his house, and that was our fanciest machine. ever. We thought it was the coolest thing. So we went from kind of all manual tools, trying to really figure it out. We didn't have 3D modeling software. Everything was drawn out by hand. But in 2017, we got donated a manual milling machine, which was like a pivotal moment for us because it allowed us to do so many more intricate designs on our pieces and to create more complex mechanisms. And since then, we've just expanded our shop to be, now we have a Haas, a CNC router, lathe, the whole bit. And the robot has come leaps and bounds from what it was. Now we can, just for the fun of it, write our number in the side of our mechanisms just because it looks cool. Whereas before, we had no chance of even thinking about doing that. So it's evolved from kind of maybe it'll run, maybe it won't. It's running, just how do we make it the best it possibly can be?
So you mentioned how you got new tools throughout the years. What are some new components to the robot you got, like a swerve drive?
Yeah,
Sure.
yeah. So 2 years ago in 2023, we decided to get our first swerve kit. We got our Neo and Neo 550s, and we used that for the season. We enjoyed it. And last year we used the new Vortexes that came out, and they were good, but we realized that because we were one of the heaviest spots in our competitions, that our acceleration was never matching our top speed in a quick enough time. So we ended up actually buying our Krakens, which were also released last year. And doing this, we actually were able to integrate our Krakens to those swerve modules with the Neo 550s. This required us cutting down a specific gear on our Haas machine, like cutting down a steel bit. And we basically custom made it from hand, and we're able to integrate it and basically fix our problem that we have.
So gearing back to outreach, is your school district affiliated with like any FLL teams or FTC teams even?
So we used to kind of help out with an FLL team at our middle school, but after I think a little over a year of that, maybe a few years, we kind of noticed that the kids seemed like they were ready for something more than just an FLL team. So we turned it into the STEM club that I run now. But last year, actually, we started to plan for that to become an FTC team there at the middle school. And so we've been working on that a lot at the beginning of this year, and we're actually pretty prepared to turn them into an FTC team. The problem is just that the parts for creating an FTC team are all like out of stock right now. But when they come back in stock, we are going to have an FTC team that we completely help mentor and work with at our middle school. And on top of that, how our school district works is there's one main middle school that everyone goes to our high school from, and then there's another middle school that pretty much everyone goes to from. And so that other middle school is also trying to start an FTC team, one that we will help out as well. That is a new advancement in really the past month or so. We found out that they were working on it and that they want our help for it. So soon.
So what are some major outreach initiatives your team has taken? So like local initiatives or international initiatives?
Yeah, so we have a heavy emphasis on our local initiatives. There's a lot of stuff that we do with our community. As I've mentioned, I'm sure a ton of times now, is the STEM Club. I'm very prideful in the STEM Club. We spend a lot of our time working on that, and it's a weekly thing. So we completely created the curriculum for that. We designed all of the projects for it, plan all the materials, everything like that. And it's because that middle school initially had different STEM classes, but funding was unfortunately cut at that school. And so because of that, every single STEM-based class was also cut, which is why we saw the need for that STEM club. And so it's kind of bringing back STEM to the students because they deserve that education. They deserve that exposure to STEM. And on top of that, we also have a lot of outreach fairs that we do that doesn't necessarily relate to our school. So just last month, we had a fall festival in our town, Allentown, and we had a robot demonstration there to kind of show people what we do. And actually just this Saturday, we had another fair that was in our school, and it was the same thing, showing people what we do. I've also mentioned a few times that we've had robot demonstrations at our elementary school and middle school. Those happen yearly too. We also help out at Board of Ed meetings. So we present, we show people what we've been doing and how we've been helping the community also like that. We just last year had our first event, our district event. It was the Allentown event, and that was cool because we got to see all different teams in our hometown and seeing how they interact with it, and we got to kind of feel like a strong connection to the first community through that, which was pretty cool, and it's kind of expanding out of the local initiatives that we're used to. We are also planning a summer program that is entirely based for women in STEM, because I'm sure, as you guys know, it's been always been a topic of discussion in the STEM community that there's not enough women represented in STEM or not able to have that education that they deserve. So by doing this summer program, we're hoping to kind of increase the diversity in gender in the STEM field. And then I'm going to toss it over to you for the Obama project in New Hanover.
So one of our most interesting and recent outreach projects is working with one of our sponsors, Cubic Maltby. Cubic Maltby curates museums all over the U.S., and their current project is the Obama Library in Chicago. So Barack Obama, for his exhibit, wanted inventions that shaped America. So there were 3 schools in the U.S. chosen, one in Chicago to make a Morse code receiver, one in Hawaii to make a water wheel, and we were selected to make a gear cutter, because all mechanical devices need gears to move it along. And so this patent gear model is small enough, smaller than like a microwave, but it is a really interesting piece of machinery that shows the craftsmanship and the work that put into it that's nowadays hidden behind motors and sleek casing. So as part of this, when we started designing it, we found there were only 2 reference images online for it. So to make it easier for us to replicate it, we went down to the Smithsonian in June to actually get a backroom's access to the gear cutter, take measurements, and really familiarize ourselves with it. And so now we're most done with the CAD and we're starting to machine parts. But it's a really cool project that hopefully will foster a continuing relationship with Cubic Maltby and getting to do these museum exhibit pieces year after year.
Yeah, that's really cool.
One of the other great things I just want to add to that is that it's a permanent display in the library, because that was one of the 3 models that was in the Oval Office. So not just our team, but FIRST in general will be a permanent fixture where tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people are going to see yearly. And aside from our name being on it, which is great, it just promotes the FIRST community too.
Mm-hmm. That's really cool. Kind of like a side question: how many members are on your team to really advocate for all of these initiatives and make sure they all perform properly?
44.
We have 44 members this year, 8 sub-team captains, who really will run the meetings, guide the students. As advisor and mentor, we're here to make sure nobody loses fingers, mostly. This is a very student-led team, which is one of the ideas at FIRST. We help when we can. For years, I was the materials and fabrication mentor. And, if they had trouble making a part, come to me. I'll show you what to do. We wouldn't do it for them, but we guide them. So it's basically everyone you see here is really steering the wheel of the ship.
So we've talked a lot about our local initiatives, but we do have an international initiative. So we just started it last year, and basically Pakistan is a developing country in Asia, and because of that, there's not a lot of access to technology, at least nothing compared to what we have. And so one of our members who just graduated last year, she was Pakistani and wanted to create a nonprofit organization that would kind of help her communicate with people in an orphanage and teach them how to use modern day technology that we have and hopefully eventually get them access to that technology. And with that, she needed people here in America to Google Meet with her while she was there and also demonstrate some of the advancements in technology that there has been. And so she wanted to, since she was a member of our team, she asked us to kind of help out with that and connect to the technology, connect to a Google Meet there and show off like what we can do and explain certain things. And eventually it was going to turn into kind of teaching them like we do with our STEM club, just over Google Meet. And so while she did graduate last year, her younger sister is now a freshman on our team and plans to continue that initiative. And so since we've had such a heavy focus on our local ones, this new international initiative is something that we're very excited about, and we're really excited to get off our feet hopefully this year.
Mm-hmm. Good luck. That sounds amazing.
So we know your team received the Engineering Inspiration Award. Congratulations for that. So what year did you guys win this award?
We won in 2023.
And what initiatives do you guys think really led to your team winning the Engineering Inspiration Award?
I think a lot of the previous outreach initiatives that we talked about before, like the STEM Club and our other outreach events. But also, like I talked about before, Team 1812 was, I think, a contributor to that, just encouraging our younger members and younger members of other teams to kind of foster their skills, gain the ability to help out. Do you want to talk a bit more about like 9015?
Max. We also had one of our alumni work with 9015, which is up in North Jersey. They started out of their garage, and unfortunately they are still in their mentor's garage. But we've been going up there. We help them with parts. When they first started off, we helped them. I'm sorry.
Advice.
Just general advice. Our electrical captain last year had gone up and really instructed them how to wire a robot from start to finish. So they're kind of not our sister team, but we have a strong connection with them.
Mm-hmm. So you guys obviously went to Worlds. So how was your experience? If you guys went, takeaways, or like what did you think of the whole thing?
Yeah, so it was definitely an interesting year last year. Obviously there was a lot of fun there. It was great connecting with other teams and getting to see people from all over. That was really incredible. But we do have to, I feel like, mention the fact that there was obviously a loss in the first community, which we do feel grievance for, and we are extremely sorry about that. And on top of that, we also, our lead mentor ended up in the hospital while we were at Worlds because he had some heart issues. So while there was a lot of positives about Worlds this year, there was also a bit of tragedy and a lot of hardships that we went through.
Mm-hmm. Sorry about that. Anyone else's experience?
Also on the plus side, this is the first trip to Worlds where we were an alliance captain. Usually we were always hoping to get picked, but this year, the way that the team performed, they solidified their place on Galileo, which was phenomenal.
I also want to add that on top of how we competed, every year at Worlds, we always encourage members who aren't on Drive Team to go to the conferences there and learn what they can. And there was a big gain in knowledge about design practices. Mm-hmm. Our design team has shifted between 3 different softwares over the past few years on the team. So we were really able to learn a lot about Onshape CAD software and figure out what will make it best for us to adapt, because that's the newest and current one that we're working with.
Also, as someone who works a lot with the younger groups and also the fact that we're trying to start our own FTC team, it was cool that the FTC and FLL teams were there too. So when I had some free time, I was able to go and see that and see how I can learn from it and help the kids that were hoping to get into an FTC team in the future. So that was pretty cool too.
Nice. So for each of you, what personally sparked interest in robotics?
As I mentioned before, actually just seeing the team before I was on it in Science Night Live, the outreach event at the elementary school, I was working on another stand and I saw the robotics team and I thought that was really cool.
For me, my middle school had no STEM exposure whatsoever, so I joined the team thinking it was somewhat interesting, but the passion and dedication I saw when I first joined inspired me leaps and bounds beyond anything else.
For me, I joined as a sophomore, and I was already interested in learning how to code, and I had friends, some of these guys here, some of them convinced me, hey, you should join the team, and I joined, and I joined programming, and I learned how to program, and now I'm the captain, so things worked out.
I wandered into the classroom waiting to pick up my son and saw what was going on and thought this was great, and realized there was a need for adults leadership. The advisors at the time are great people, but again, they didn't have the knowledge that we do today. So myself and another dad kind of said, what can we do to help out? And the rest is history.
I'm in the same boat as Max. When I was in elementary school, I saw the robotics team display. I think it was 4th grade. I saw the display. I'm like, oh, that's the coolest thing ever. Ran over to my parents. I dragged them over to the display. I was like, I'm going to do that when I'm in high school. They're like, yeah, sure, okay. And then freshman year of high school, I was like, oh yeah, that's the thing I wanted to do, and joined, and here we are now.
Going into high school, I didn't even really know that we had a robotics team until I was being led around by one of the senior tour guides on freshman orientation. And he said, yeah, you should join robotics. I'm the electrical captain. I do lots of fun work there. And I was like, sure, might as well. I've always been interested in STEM. And I went to the meeting and I saw just how excited everyone seemed to be there and the passion that the upperclassmen were putting into their presentations and their demonstrations. And I was like, I want to be part of that.
Yeah, I was in actually the FLL team in the middle school where when we had that for a few years. And a lot of the mentors there were people like leadership and members in the Allentown High School robotics team. And they always talked high about this. And then also just like introduced me more about STEM. And I was like, wow, I like this. And so when I got to high school and I saw these guys I was friends with, I was like, oh, cool. Let me start this and participate.
So have any of the alumni within your team pursued higher education and STEM-related majors or jobs?
Yeah, so all of our alumni are actually, in the past, have been 100%. 100% of our alumni have pursued higher education. So actually 100% are college bound. And it's something along the lines of, I believe 87.2% have pursued STEM in that higher education. And we even have a lot of our alumni have gone to colleges or universities specifically for STEM, so such as Stevens or WPI, Cal Poly. We also have some students who have gone to Yale and UPenn and other remarkable universities for things like engineering and other STEM fields.
We do have one outlier here that would fall in that 87%.
No, in the 15%.
Or the 15% that didn't attend for.
Yeah, the robotics was more of a hobby for me. I thought engineering was really cool. I had a lot of fun doing it, but I ended up going to Johnson & Wales for the baking and pastry arts. So I actually translated a lot of the skills that I learned here, leadership-wise, into leadership skills at school, and now in the kitchens that I work in, I use a lot of the skills that I learned here for that. So it's a lot more than just building robots.
Yeah, that's really cool. So those are all the questions from our side. Now it's up to you guys to ask us anything mechanically outreach, whatever.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so first question is, what made you come up with this podcast? What was your inspiration? And also, for other teams you've interviewed, anything interesting that you've learned that you've never would have thought of?
So one of the bases for this podcast was last year we wanted a way to like interact or connect with as many teams around like our country. Yeah. So like we're based in New York on Long Island, so we don't really know how teams like in Texas or like in the Midwest or things like that. So when we interviewed teams from there, we learned a lot about how they operate, how a lot of them like are affiliated with colleges, like they work in a college setting, things like that. So like learning how different teams like have their teams in different ways and still make it to Worlds or still we meet them there. It's like really interesting to see and like interviewing them and talking to them in that way.
Was there anything that you've learned that you were like, hey, we should do this in our own team?
One idea we really took into play was one team. I'm not sure from where. From from Cali. They talked about like training groups and how like they really started emphasizing during off season, like getting training groups, training the underclassmen on what to get done, teaching them electrical stuff, mechanical, things like that. So we implemented that a lot this year, especially making it like a priority for underclassmen, like freshmen or sophomores, to see what they're interested in by being in these specific training groups and kind of making a set structure plan on how people will pick what they are interested in most, if that makes sense.
Got it.
So we know you won the Impact Award.
Mhm.
What initiatives and outreach programs helped you to do this?
Yeah,
Oh.
more outreach. Yeah, Nikhil.
Yeah. So, but one of them, of course, was this podcast. Of course, of course, how we're trying to reach all 50 states and also to other countries. We're trying to interview teams. So that was a major thing. And another thing is our Regal Eagle Rampage that we have, I think, for the past 6-7 years, right?
6 years, yeah.
Yeah, 6 years. So that's been a major part and of our getting our Impact Award, because we're able to call a lot of our teams to as a week 0 event to come practice, get used to the game before actual competition starts. So that's always been a major part of our impact.
And to add on to what Nikhil was saying, we also have a First Together initiative where we contact all of the a lot of teams in the New York area, and we all contact through this Discord server where we communicate with any outreach initiatives we're doing, like a beach cleanup or a car wash day. So it's basically just communicating with our community's team members.
Also, sustainability was a big part of ours. We do a lot of international outreach. We have a STEM Kits initiative where we reached like 13 countries around the world where teams have sent STEM Kits to these places, went there and taught them. So I think all these initiatives combined, like locally and internationally, have really pushed us to win the award.
I have a question. It's kind of selfish, actually. You guys seem like a great team from what we've learned online and stuff, and a team like yours can't run without support. So do your mentors, are they staff, are they parents? And if they're parents, how do you pull the parents in to want to help? I mean, like, I'm still stuck here. It's great. I wouldn't trade it for the world. But how do you make it appeal to somebody who just comes in, picks up their kid and says, hey, thanks, see ya? Like, what do you guys do? What special do you guys do?
So our 2 main mentors are staff members. One of them is 2 of them are staff members. And the other one, we have mentors who are parents of alumni who have graduated, and they are offering their help. Like one of them helps us with electrical stuff. One of them is interested in helping us with outreach. They're not official mentors, but we do call them as people who support us. I think our biggest way we get parents involved is through our events we hold. So like our biggest one, like Nikhil said, is Regal Eagle Rampage. So that's basically a mock like week 0 event kind of, where teams all across the tri-state area come to our school and we make the practice field. So like this year's game was Crescendo, so we make it all out of wood as soon as it like releases, and then teams come here, they troubleshoot their robots, we collaborate. So during that time I feel like parents can really see up close how much work their kids are putting into robotics themselves and how it does pay off, because we have great results at the end of the day. And the parents get involved in the event itself by helping us like sell food, helping us plan the event, helping us plan like raffles, things like that. So really motivating the parents and showing them that our team is more than a team, it's like a family, really does involve a lot of them to stay connected with us.
Thank you.
One of the questions I had was, since you guys are in New York and you run that event, are there any teams that you guys are really close with and work a lot with? Because we have a couple teams that are about 20-minute drive away from us that If we don't have a machine that they have, they'll help us make a part, and vice versa. So we have a relatively close relationship with a couple teams. Just wondering if you guys had that with anyone else in your area.
Do you guys want to talk about Sayoset?
Yeah, so basically, yes, like Oscar just said, Sayasa, it's a team about 10 minutes away. So, we often usually help each other out, like you said, if we ever need any help with anything or they need help, we'd be glad to help each other. And I think we also help each other out at competitions, and a lot of us all are like friends with each other at Sayasa. So it's more like a friendship based, not like a work based relationship, so we just have that kind of connection with those teams. Yeah.
So, luckily on our island, there's a lot of teams within our island that are connected. We work together, especially through First Together initiative. So Sayase was a school we helped, and we helped them start their FRC team, and they did extremely well. So with like Rampage, for example, we collaborated with their team at like a local church to extend our Rampage by like a week. So we help each other like grow our outreach together, and we help each other like mechanically, like at competitions. So a lot of teams on our island work together to help each other in competitions, but there's not one set team we rely on. We all just kind of help each other network.
Awesome. Thank you.
And then we also saw that you guys, I think you won the Regional Engineering Inspiration Award like 6 times in the past 7 years.
Yeah, we won it the last 3 years in a row. Yeah.
So we were just kind of wondering how you guys keep that up. Like, is it yearly events that you think kind of help you guys do that, or is it changing every year, or how does that work?
I think like same with the Impact Award. We have like our set initiatives each year. We try to do we keep off-season initiatives, like movie nights. We have bake sales to help bring up our funds, and we have this thing called roundtables where it's like a conference we hold and we talk about new ideas we came throughout the year. And then we have like our during season events like Rampage, our podcast, our international initiatives, and we make sure to keep these initiatives sustainable. So we try to add on to them or see if we can expand it in some way. So I think doing that since the last 3 to 4 years has really helped us grow our outreach and show the judges that we don't just add new initiatives for the sake of it, but we actually do expand on them and that there is an impact shown through doing that. Yeah.
Really impressive.
Thank you.
Cool. I think that's all from us.
Okay, perfect. Thank you guys so much for coming. We'll definitely let you know when the episode comes out. It might be a while, but yeah, thank you for your time.
Thank you for
Thank you for having us.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, and good luck this season.
You
Bye.
too.
Thank you.